Rossi's threads, pre-threaded weaving needles for extensions, hair, weaves, and wigs. The pre-threaded weaving needles are to speed up the time for the hair weaves and for the wig installs. This is the full system for the full weave with closure install, net, synthetic hair, rubber bands, combs, scissors, glue. First, you start with the foundation of the braids. You braid the hair for underneath the weave so you can attach the extensions onto the foundation. As you can see, she had a little bit of a trouble spot, but the synthetic hair strengthens the foundation so that it's no more breakage. You can put the hair away to become a protective style. The way that I'm braiding is straight down so that the closure can lay flat. The lace closure, it's actually designed to look like a scalp. So then you can part your hair in multiple ways and get protection all over. The pre-threaded weaving needles are already threaded so that you can start the install. Threading the needles and cutting the threads takes so much time. This will speed up your weave about 45 minutes. Using multiple needles so that now they are disposable makes it more sanitary also. Sometimes you might have blind spots and you may pierce the client's scalp, or you may poke your finger, and those needles you would want to discard. Right now I am stitching down the end of the braid so that we can apply the net. When I'm doing a little circular motion around the needle with the thread twice, it's so that I can make a knot to secure the stitching. I do it at the base of the braid so that when the hair is sewn on, you have a flat surface and you can't feel any lumps. This is a close-up of how the double blind stitch is laid. You tie a knot at the end of every stitching. This is the net. The net fills in any gaps in between the braids, and it makes it so that foundation is more solid. Instead of having to deal with the little spaces in between the braids, you can just sew the hair right onto the nets. As I apply the net, I use more than one needle at each corner so that when you're fastening the net down, it does not move. I have the client holding the side of the net also to the circumference of her head so that we can get it as secure as possible. When I have more than one needle already pre-threaded, it saves me a lot of time and it helps with the procedure, so then I don't have to stop and delay the service to cut more threads and thread a needle. So one side all the way back around the ears, and the same with the opposite side. I'm gonna leave a gap in the crown so that we can lay the full lace closure. It's called a 4x4 closure, as you'll see when we get closer to the end. The stitch technique is called a double blind stitch. I prefer to use the seam curve needle because it's easier for me to get under the braid and the net to secure the track at the same time. Now, as you can see, I take it around the front and I'm gonna go behind the ear all the way to the nape of the neck, making sure I secure the net. I started with the second needle to come around the left side. I'm starting with my second needle to finish around the opposite side. By having more than one needle, I will not have to stop, cut off the first needle just to get around to the front, and speeds up my time. Now I'm clipping off the excess net. The excess net is not needed any longer. Clip off the needles also. I'm gonna lay down the nude cap. It's like a stocking cap. I also sew down the nude cap so then when the braids grow out, the weave won't move backwards. Then you won't have to take down the whole weave. So if it grows backwards, it's sewn down and secure. You apply the makeup and now applying the closure. This is a lace closure. Each individual hair is threaded onto a mesh piece of lace so that you can get a scalp-like appearance. Two needles, sometimes three. I'll secure the back so that it doesn't move as the client holds the front sides, and then I'll go ahead and I'll stitch the rest of the net and the closure together. If we didn't have the net, then you would have those little gaps of braids that you would just be sewing to, and that can potentially pull the client's hair and make the hairline recede or break off. Right now I'm sewing down the right side, and then I have another needle already installed, so then I can sew down the left side. With the pre-threaded weaving needles, it's way more convenient than having one or two needles that you're working on. You no longer have to stop, cut threads, and thread needles, which will save so much time. I shaved down almost 45 minutes on my sew-ins by having more than one needle and already pre-threaded. Almost done sewing down the closure. This closure is fairly short because she wanted a lot of layers at the top. The closures come in different lengths. Now I'm to the back, where I'm sewing the back of the closure down. In the center, I already had one pre-threaded weaving needle, securing it so that it didn't move from the location that I needed it to be in. Make sure your clients have a secure grip of the front so that the net stays in place. Now I tie the knot and I'll cut off the threads. Now we're gonna do the foam, lay the hair down where she wants it parted. The foam is just mousse. This is what they call tweezing the closure, so this way we can get a more realistic look of what we are portraying to be a scalp. When it's too full, nobody's hair is really that full, so it just looks like more wig. Underneath, you can see the nude stocking cap that will give the appearance of a scalp. This is the lace front glue, which is really important. It's hard to sew down the front of the lace without it buckling or looking artificial. So if you would like a hairline that looks natural, then you apply glue This lace front glue is just the Walker tape. There's multiple glues available. You lay it down, make sure it's tacky. You do this twice to make sure you get extra grip. This is more theoretical. It's very popular. Now I'm stitching the front of the tracks to the beginning first braid, more so sewing it onto the net instead of the braid. If you sew the first track along the front, then when the wind blows, you can't see anything on the hairline. It frames the perimeter great also. The glue is already dried on the front of the lace, so when we cut the lace off, then you'll see it starts to look more and more natural. If you remember at the beginning of the video, the front perimeter of her hair was really weak and damaged, and this will give it a chance to be hidden so that it can grow. Sew-in weaves can be protective hairstyles also. yards of hair, so you'd have to cut each section to fit everybody's hair. Everybody's front hairline is different length and size. Now I'm shaving off the front of the lace. You don't glue down all of the lace, just enough so that if they wanted to lay down baby hairs, they would be able to. Now we're going to be sewing on the back of the hair. This method, I bend the tracks backward after I finish one rotation around the back of the head. Then I'll bend the track at the corner, secure it. Above the other track. Again, this is the double blind stitch. Keep your stitching organized, it will be easy for takedown, and it just makes the tracks lay way flatter. As you can see, it takes multiple needles and threads to finish a sew-in, because the needle and thread is essential to performing a full weave or a partial weave. So if you can cut out that time, even if you shave down anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes by not having to thread each needle, then you can eventually maybe get another client in or have more family time. And you just keep stitching up, separating the hair, maybe like not even a half an inch, all the way to the top. Flat iron. And layer the extension hair without cutting your real hair. And the full weave is done.